If I'm working as an archivist or a librarian, it's important that I can do a number of different tasks using MediaCentral Cloud UX. So for example, I may want to go in and enrich metadata for clips that we have in the system. I also may want to be able to search and to find material in the system very, very quickly. And of course, I also may want to be able to push material to the archive and also bring material back from the archive. So let's take a look at how I can do that in MediaCentral Cloud UX. So I'm working as an archivist, but how do I get tasked to do jobs? Well, one of the ways that can happen is through MediaCentral Collaborate. So this is MediaCentral Collaborate, and I can see here there is a restore job that's been added. So let me go into that. This is what's called an assignment. And in this assignment, I can see that there is a task. So I go in here and it says to collect the fire video, and there's some instruction here to can you find video from the fire in Glasgow. Now, of course, there could be lots more information here. There could be a due date and time for when this is going to be added. There could be multiple people being tasked to do this. But what I'm going to do just now as the archivist is I'm going to go in and I'm going to say, okay, this is something that's now in progress because this is something which I'm now doing. This will then update the rest of the team to let them know that I'm actively working on this. Let's go back now and look at the rest of the workflow. So the first thing we'll look at is how I can enrich metadata within clips in the system. So here in MediaCentral Cloud UX, down the left-hand side, I can have access to all the systems that I can use. Across the top, I then have different apps that we're going to look at. This is the Browse app. We will also take a look at the Search app. So here, I'm going to take a look inside of my video production system. I'm just going to go in and I'll get some media for me to use. I've got some drone shots that I'm going to use here, and let's bring up this clip. So one of the things in MediaCentral Cloud UX is we have an integrated video player. Now, the video player I can resize, I can make it bigger just by clicking on the bar here, I can drag it across. I can also make it full screen just by clicking on this button here, press the escape key to come back out again. And below the video player, I also have this area here, and what we're going to focus on is use of what's called a storyboard. So in the Storyboard tab, this is where I can begin to add some additional information and metadata for a particular clip. Now you'll also see there is a metadata tab here as well, and if I select that, this then shows me metadata for the clip. So for example, this is showing me every single folder which this clip is in the database. We then have some system properties. These are some properties which are automatically created by the system, but we also have some free text fields. So for example, I can go and add in comments. And then of course, we can also have custom metadata fields in here. And this can include things like drop-down lists as well. You see just now I'm working with the panel below the video player, and I have to scroll quite a lot to go through and look at everything. So actually what would be better for me is to move it. And I can do that really easily by going here and just selecting this option. So this now gives me a lot more screen real estate to actually work for. So let's go back to the storyboard view. And what we see in the storyboard view are what are called markers. These are markers that have been added to this particular clip. And you can actually choose which track you add these markers on. These ones are being added on a video track, but you could have different markers on different audio tracks as well. Now you can see here we can also display thumbnails. So this then shows me thumbnails for each of the clips. These are a quick way of navigating through a clip, for example. Just double click on it. It will take you directly to that particular time code. And you can see here that I'm displaying thumbnails for both every 10 seconds of a clip, but I'm also showing them for every marker as well. So again, you can click on them and it will take you directly to it. But let's go back to my video track here, and I want to add some new markers in here. So easy way to add a marker, just go to where you want, click on the color of marker you want to add in, and then you can just type in here. So this is a shot of the paraglider near the beach, for example. Now, one thing to mention here is that everything you add here is then searchable as part of the MediaCentral Cloud UX system, whether you're in MediaCentral Cloud UX or inside of Media Composer. Now here you can see there are different colors of markers that you can add. Here I'm displaying them in a list view. I can also switch across so I can actually see them with thumbnails as well. Let me just go back to the list view. And I did that just by using the mouse to select what I was doing and then moving through here. But of course, if I'm working as an archivist, I probably want to be able to actually go in and perhaps play the clip and type and then control the playback. without actually having to reach over and use the mouse. Well, the good news is you can also do that as well. So just to show you how that can be done, normally for playback, you would use J, K, and L to actually control the playback of a video player. L to play it, K to pause it, J to run it backwards. So now, because I want to be able to go in and type, I can use Control and L. That will play the clip. Control and K will pause it. Control and J will run it backwards. If I hit J or L multiple times, I can then speed up the clip and I can spin through it. You can see here I can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 times. This is configurable for how fast it goes. But now what I want to do is I want to go in, I want to add a marker, I want to type in some text, and I want to control the playback. So how do I go about doing that? Well, you see the different colors of markers that we have here. These are available, again, using the Control key. So for example, if I hit Control and 1, that adds in a red marker. Control and 2, a green one, Control and 3, a blue one, and so on. Again, you could use different markers to represent different users in a system, perhaps some markers being added in this case by an archivist, other markers perhaps being added by, say, a researcher, because they may have some different information that they want to go and add in. Now I'm just going to delete these markers that have been added. So here I can select multiple ones, just hit the delete key just to delete them back out again as well. So what I'm going to do this time is I'm going to do Control and 1 to add in a red marker. And this is the shot of the takeoff. But now what I want to do is I want to play the clip. And I want to also be able to continue to type. Now, if I just hit J, K, and L, of course, I'm just going to type in the text box that I'm working in just now. But again, if I do Control and L, the clip is now going to play. And I can continue to type. Control and K will pause. And again, I can go into type. Now you'll also see here, it's automatically highlighting where I've got a spelling mistake. So of course, I can go back in and I can correct that. So again, this time I'm going to do Control and L to play the clip through a bit more. This time, Control and 4, I'm adding in a blue marker. Control and K to pause again. So this is how I can control a clip. I can continue to type all the time using the keyboard rather than using the mouse. And that's one of the key aspects of MediaCentral Cloud UX in terms of an archiving and logging workflow. Now, a couple of other things to also mention here is that I can copy these markers to the clipboard. I can also download these markers and I can export them out as one of these different types. So for example, I want to have them as an Excel spreadsheet. That's also something that I can also do as well if some people still want to have a paper copy or they want to have something as a file to go off and to use. Another application that can be done inside of MediaCentral Cloud UX, as well as adding markers, is we can also apply what are called restrictions. Now, restrictions are used in a variety of different ways. They could, for example, be set up as a warning. Maybe it's sensitive footage or it's something that perhaps you don't have the rights to. You can highlight that within a clip. Equally, you might want to highlight something that you do want to use. And the way that restrictions are applied is they're applied from an in point to an out point. So I'm just going to mark an in and an out. And again, I could use I and O on the keyboard to do that. So I marked an in point and an out point there. And then just click on the little triangle here, and that's going to create a restriction. So you see here it marks the in and the out point. It also highlights in here in the timeline, so it's easy to spot as this red area. And then there is a comments area. And in this comments area, you can now come in and type. Now you can also see as I'm typing in here, it's also adding this in directly in the clip. So, anybody who comes along and is looking at this clip, when they get to that point, they will visually see this on the screen with the warning itself. This is something that's also available to view inside of Media Composer as well. So this is how I can go in and I can add markers, I can add restrictions, and how I can view certain metadata in a clip inside of MediaCentral Cloud UX. So that's one aspect of the archivist job, obviously going in and enhancing that metadata. Now let's imagine I want to send this clip to the archive. Now this could be a process that is being set up to run automatically, or it could be something that's triggered manually. I'm just going to show you quickly how it can be triggered manually. You simply select the shot that you want, or multiple shots. You can right click on it and you get this actions menu. So here from the actions menu, you can see I've got a whole list of different actions that I could perform, but what I want to do here is I want to archive this master clip. So simply by clicking this will trigger a background process to then take this clip and push it into your MediaCentral asset management system. So there we've gone and looked at how I can access some video, I can enrich the metadata by adding markers, by adding restrictions, and then I can take the clip and I can then push it into the archive. It's also worth mentioning that these markers and the restrictions are visible in the archive as well. The next thing we're going to look at is perhaps how I can do some searching to find some material. So I'm just going to change my view a little bit. So again here, I'm just going to pop this back under the video player. And this time I'm going to go to the Search app. Now the Search app has a variety of different filters that you can see here down the left-hand side that allow me to just quickly apply some filters to filter, for example, for different timescales, for when a clip was created or modified. I can go in and search in different systems. So for example, here I can filter to say, just search inside my video production system or just look for a particular type of clip. But as well as these filters, I can also go up here into the search box and I can do a search here for any metadata. So what I'm going to do just now is I'm going to search for paraglider. And this is searching across all of our systems in all of the metadata field for the word paraglider. So you can see in some instances it brings up results because the word paraglider is in the name of the file obviously, but you can see some other things here where perhaps it's not obvious where the word paraglider is. Now I don't want to go through and open up every single clip here to actually look at the metadata results, so I can use this little icon here. So here I can see in the metadata where the word paraglider is. I can see this in the metadata. I can also look at what's called the timeline. So this would show me, for example, here, as you can see, where it's mentioned in the markers. Now, again, I can filter this to say, okay, only show me the hits. Don't show me all of the metadata, just the hits. But I can easily go in and I can change that. But now I want to look at the next result. Well, I don't need to go back to the list. I can simply carry on through. So here, again, it's then showing me the metadata. In this case, this, of course, is a story, which is part of the newsroom management system. So again, here it has the word paraglider. So let me just go through these until we get to one of the items where paraglider is not mentioned in the actual name of the piece itself. So here we can see something called more advanced. And if I scroll down through here, I can't see it mentioned in the metadata here, but if I go into the timeline, again, there it is. Now let's imagine I want to go directly to this. If I simply double click on this result, this then takes me directly to this clip right at that position. So this is a way where I can use the search functionality to go and look not just in, say, the name of the file, I can actually search against any of the metadata that we actually have. Now, of course, it may well be the case that what you want to do is not search on any of the metadata, you want to be more specific. Well, you can do that in MediaCentral Cloud UX as well. I can search, if I click on the More button here, on any of the metadata in any of the systems. So you can imagine that I can do very, very detailed specific searches on any of our systems, and I can have multiple fields that I can search again. I'm not just limited to just having one particular field. So say, for example, here I've got the paraglider search that I want to add in, but I then want to go and add something else in. So I can click an and button here, and let me go in this time and add the word scenics and hit return. So again, this time I only get a limited number of results, but I also have the option here. I can not only do and searches, I can also do or searches, I can also do and not searches. So, I can do very detailed searching here. I can also do Boolean searching. I can put an asterisk at the start or the end of the word to search for particular parts of words as well. So very, very detailed searching that I can do inside of MediaCentral Cloud UX. And not only for searching here, but I also have search favorites. So here, for example, I've got a search favorite that's set up, which is searching for Bulgaria and beach and coast, and it returns me just this one result. And as well as having my own favorites, System administrators can also set up, and you can create what are called public searches. Public searches are available to anybody, but you can also then set up private searches for, say, groups of users. So for example, the archivists could have their own set of private searches that they want to go off and to use. To clear a search, you simply click on the button here. So we've looked at searching using metadata. What about searching in audio? Well, this is another capability which MediaCentral Cloud UX has, because here you can see I can choose to do what's called a phonetic search. And what this is actually going to do is it's going to search in the audio of a clip to find the words that I'm searching for. Now you can actually see here that we can also do multiple language searches here. But I'm just going to search in English, and I'm going to search for the word glee. So when that returns the search, it gives me a whole bunch of results. And what I can see down here is the number of phonetic hits that there are in each of these clips. So you can see from here there's 7 in these clips, there's 4 in this one, there's 3 in this one. And if I just choose this first one here, so let me just double click on it so it opens up, then I have a hits tab. And in this hits tab, I see metadata and I also see phonetic. So I can choose here to listen, because this is where, with the time code, and also how confident the system is that this is actually the word that I'm looking for. So if I double click here, you see there's a little mini timeline here. It jumps me directly to that part, and then I can play the clip back.
From that point on.
So there you can see that Virginia Katz here is talking about Glee. Let me double click on this one. Again, takes me to the next point.
Glee and thank.
So there you can see it's very easy for me to search, and I can search for multiple words. I can search on phrases. I can also combine a phonetic search with metadata. So here, for example, I actually want to find Glee when it's being talked about by an editor called Doc Croxer. So let me just type in Doc's name here. And this time you see I just get one result. So let me double click on this one. So here you can see it's found results in the metadata. That's what it's telling me here. It's also found 3 results in the audio, and it's also found a result in markers. And that's because here in the metadata, there is Doc's name in the name of the file. If I look at markers, there's also a marker being added to indicate that this is Doc being interviewed. And then if I look at the phonetic hits, you see here that the system is very confident that this is the word. It's highlighted in blue. It gives you a percentage rating. And again, the same as before, if I double click, it takes me to that point. Let's play it back.
Glee.
And again with the next one.
Glee, where there'd be 10, 12.
So this is how I can use phonetic searching, combining that with metadata searching to do really detailed searching within MediaCentral Cloud UX. And of course, I can save this as a favorite, just like I could with anything else. So this is how I can do very detailed searching, searching on metadata and searching on the audio in MediaCentral Cloud UX. Now, of course, a vital role that the archivist can play is in finding material that journalists perhaps want to use or members of the production team might want to use. And it may be that they need to combine material that's in the main production system with material that's also in the archive as well. And this is another workflow that's supported in MediaCentral Cloud UX and is based around a concept of what's called enterprise editing. So what do we mean by that? Well, here what you can see is that I've actually gone in and I've created a little sequence and I've just popped a shot in it from my main MediaCentral production system. But I know for this particular fire that there's also some material in the archive that I want to use. So again, based on searching here, I can very quickly filter to say, okay, only show me clips which are in the archive. And then in here, I'm just going to type in fire and run the search. So you can see here I get a bunch of results, but I can filter this further, of course, by saying, okay, I'm only really interested in video. So this again just filters a bit more and then just shows me the video clips. So from here, I'm going to load this video clip. And bear in mind that what I'm doing now is I'm looking at clips that's in the archive, as well as clips that are on the main system. I can do this all within MediaCentral Cloud UX. So here I can see we've got a wide shot of the fire. So let me take that. I think there's maybe a zoom in this as well. Yeah, there the shot zooms out. So let's take that to there. And what I'm going to do with enterprise editing is just take this clip and add it directly into my timeline here. Now I get a pop-up telling me, okay, you've added something from the archive, and I just click OK. If you now look in the timeline, it tells me that this clip is from my online system, my MediaCentral production management system. This clip is in my archive system, my MediaCentral asset management system, or my shared library system. But I can come in and I can continue to work. Let me just go and select another shot from the library here. So again, something else that's in the archive. Let me just mark this up as well. And again, this time, just add that into the timeline here. And of course, I can then come and I can play these clips back. So I can see everything in context. Let me just play it back. So there are shots from the production system and shots from the archive all together in context. Now, of course, if I'm restoring media from the archive, I've got a couple of different options. So the first option, of course, is I've got a clip in the archive, I just want to bring it back. I can simply select to right-click on it, I get the Actions menu, and then from here you can see I can choose to transfer to production management, and that's going to take back, the whole clip. I can, of course, inside my MediaCentral asset management system, also create a shot list just of clips from the archive, and I can restore that back as well. And then with something like this, where I have a shot from the production system and the archive, then I can simply, save it here, but you'll also see I get this option to sync. And what this is going to do is trigger a background process to take this content and then transfer it to the main production system. So now, of course, that I've done all this work, I want to update the status in MediaCentral Collaborate. So I can just go back to the Collaborate app from here. This is collect the file video. I can now say that this is actually complete. Update the task for here as well. And that just indicates that I've done my job and I've completed it. The other thing I could also do with this task, if I wanted to, is simply drag and drop to link the sequence that I've created with the shots to this particular assignment as well. So this is how, as an archivist, I can complete a whole variety of tasks in MediaCentral Cloud UX.